Hi there, beautiful souls. I laugh as that's a way that I break up and transmute energy. This is going to be a sharing of part of my journey. I keep getting, I know, having gone through the journey I've gone through so far, which, whoever hears this, the intention is whoever hears this, hears it, will hopefully get something from it. As everyone else I've ever listened to says, take what kind of the stuff that, take what resonates, take what really connects with you. When you say resonates, something that actually makes you feel something, not just sort of can be also to make your mind go. When I first started listening to this stuff, I felt something, but I was still have the logical stuff, but the longer I've gone on this journey, the more that I sort of clear, release, let go of stuff, and come back into the present moment and my own energy, my center point, my connection to my intuition, to my soul, my inner self, to God, source, creator, whatever the energy that surrounds us, all the biofield, the unity conscious, whatever terminology you want to use, because to me they kind of encompass it. For me, it feels like it's, at least for me, when I say those words, I've got to the point now where they all mean the same thing to me, or it all kind of comes back to, I say source, creator, as that's what connects for me the most. But when I sort of connect to that, come back to that center point and feel those feelings, that is I know is my energy, my natural, my core, me at my core, my heart, my solar plexus energy. When I'm in that, when I sort of, and I wasn't really able to connect with any of that until I had actually cleared stuff away. For me, on my journey, what I've come to believe is that we all have that connection available to us if we wish to decide to use it, to utilize it, if we decide to remember, and before we incarnate on earth. And this is where it starts to get a little crazy. But if it doesn't connect with you, doesn't resonate with you, it's not part of your journey, your pathway, your knowing, whatever, then leave it. I've got to the point of where the stuff, I have to share what I feel urged, what I feel called, what I feel pushed almost at the moment to share. Recently it does feel like a bit of a, not a pushing it's a negative, trying to get me to do something that I don't want to do or go against my will. That's not it at all. It's almost a pushing, like a come on, like a little nudge. You really want to do this. This is really what part of your journey is about, is sharing. It's something you've always done. So the fact that you're now doing it on a YouTube channel shouldn't make any difference, because it really does. When I listen to other people turn around and say that you get to a certain point, when you start to look back and reflect, that everything in your life, all the characteristics the parts of you that you've grown up with, the experiences you've had, the interactions you've had, they all start to make sense. They all start to make it. It really is like it's all linked. It's all connected. Every single interaction I've ever had with anyone else, every single experience I've ever had in my entire life, no matter how at the time insignificant in the bigger picture it appeared to be, I wasn't really looking at the bigger picture as much back then, I must admit. Now it's like, wow, okay, I kind of think I'm starting to get it, maybe just a little smidge, because we're not really supposed to know everything. I do feel that, and all of this stuff is a truth that feels true to me, but also I know it's a truth that comes from this connection I have to the all, to source creator, and it kind of comes, comes direct, and people connect with different energies, and I more and more am connecting with other energies. But this was the first energy, because, and it's quite hard for the human to say some of this stuff when you've kept yourself hidden for whatever reason, and there's no judgment, there's no criticism, there's no blame, there's no shame, there's no guilt or anything, because that, I've forgiven, and maybe there's another layer to go. Maybe there's a note to self, another layer to go. We will take note to self, and I'm going to do that at some point, because it is, for me, the forgiveness is the completion of the cycle. Forgiveness, I found, for me, is there's the releasing, there's manifesting stuff, and the releasing, letting go, and it is phenomenal, it's amazing. But it wasn't, for me, it wasn't until I was able to get to the point of where I could actually forgive that other energy. And I say energies because it's just, for me, it makes this so much easier for the human part of me. This, and when I say human part of me, it's just because I differentiate now between I understand the more and more the feeling of when I talk about my soul and how that feels in my body when I talk about my soul, when I talk about my mind, the logical part of my mind, and how that feels when I talk about that part of me. And we've got all these different parts of us that make up this whole totality of this physical being that, is me sitting here talking to you right now, depending on what you believe as to be reality. But that's a whole other subject. And yeah, we've done this doing the singing thing. I grew up as one of those children that was constantly singing, dancing, jumping, skipping, running, frolicking. I suppose if that's the right kind of word, but that's really the picture I have of myself. My inner child is just right now. She kind of, I've done inner child healing, and she kind of sits in my higher heart chakra. Don't know why I'm sharing that, but again, I've learned to just, sometimes you just say stuff, bleh, and it's for a reason. There'll be someone out there that's healing this that'll go, oh, planting a seed. They'll take that and it will connect, and they'll do what they need to do with it. Also, at the same time, you can see that it has got to the point now where these urging, these callings to just share and express myself, and I can't help but singing. So just you're just going to go with it, or there's plenty of other people you can go listen to if you just want to turn the channel over. There is no point of view complaint TV program here. So if you don't like it, then it's not a lot I can do about it. I have to be true to my authentic self, and this is me being authentic. This is generally really what I'm like, and this is generally what I live like. I don't really do the filter thing, never really have, to be honest, myself personally. But I do generally to have makeup, and the makeup is usually because I see it as more like a coat of armour, putting it on. It's like someone said to me about these butterfly wings at the top that I kind of wear. It's like, butterfly for me is the first power animal that I got on the start of the shamanic journey that I'm on. When I first started stepped onto the shaman wheel in any sort of sense, and yeah, the butterfly was the first power animal, spirit animal that kind of came to me. So butterflies for me are they're a sign, a symbol, that I'm hearing what I'm meant to hear, that I'm taking the steps that my soul is leading me to take, that I am saying my truth, whatever it is. It's a symbol and a sign for me that one of the ways the universe, source, creator, whatever you wish to call it, communicates with me. And I realise now that I know that it communicates, and I believe the universe, spirit, again, whatever you want to call that energy that is outside of us, but yet within us all, and that is what holds true for me. Whew. And sometimes say these things and you get these little truth bombs, and they are like truth. That's how I think of it. It's like a truth. And I say bombers. There's another reason for that. I'll say about that in a minute. I just sometimes feel like it's just a whole rambling mess of stuff that I just say, and it's mainly for me, because I know that me expressing this, whether I just do it and nobody ever sees it apart from me sharing it, watching myself on video now, is enough. If it's meant to be seen by anyone else, it'll be seen by other people. If not, it won't, and it's all good, because me sharing and expressing in whichever way my heart and soul, my heart desires, my soul leads me to do or guides me to do, is perfect. Is perfect in that moment, in that present moment. It all holds a resonance. It all holds an energy. And as you know, I've heard from many other people say, these things are timeless. Energy is time is a construct. It has its place, but it's a construct. It's a concept. So this is, you know, the speaking the words I'm saying, and as I know how more and more how much of an energy words have. I know just by me speaking that when I'm talking and saying things like this that are my truth, which then, because they are my truth, then have a certain energy, sometimes like a weight, is an energy behind them when I speak. And that comes through, even through sort of online and through social media. It comes through. And just me speaking it, I mean, I feel the energy coming through me when I talk. Many tangents later. So yeah, my truth. So I'm being called more and more to share just like snippets, and it started off as just a little bit here, a little bit there, and just more and more. It's like almost on a not maybe a daily basis, but I can. It's headed that way, and how long it stays that way, because these things seem to have their own evolution. There is a bigger plan, a bigger picture for us all, and I personally believe that it's something that my soul agreed to, chose to, in accordance with the even bigger picture of the one that encompasses everything. And my, you know, sort of piece within that, the bigger picture for me and my life, this particular life, or my soul's evolution, my soul's development, that bigger picture. So it can be quite. It can be quite something to feel the energy just flowing, pulsating through me sometimes, and other people that do this will obviously understand, and I kind of get it. Like I said, the more that I do these things, and the more that this is obviously going to happen. And I've got tarot cards next to me because I love tarot cards. I'm so into all of this stuff. This is what I mean. So being a child when I was younger, I didn't really let people see this kind of stuff. And as I might have said in one of the other videos, we have spirituality that runs, mediumship and stuff, runs very heavily through one of the family lineages within my bloodline, in this particular life. And I know that past lives of mine would incorporate stuff like that, stuff around that sort of subject, that sort of topic as well. I know it. It feels so natural. And as I say, just to walk around, I was one of those children, just walked around like so completely connected to something else, but I suppressed and hidden it a lot. You know, I'm too mentally, I know things, I hear things, see things, and it is quite hard to say this, because when you've been hiding it, suppressing it, because it's going to make you look weird and not quite like everyone else that you grew up with or are friends with, and not just grew up with. And again, there's no judgment. I know there's no judgment from the family I was born into. That wasn't the lessons that I needed to learn with them. In fact, they were very, very, very open to the spirituality kind of stuff and the medium kind of ship stuff. We grew up, I might have said before, grew up with stories of all of that kind of stuff. So I was even more open to it, because it wasn't seen as something to be scared of. So, but I've always had, shiny, sparkly things. One of my friends says she calls me a magpie, as I love sort of like, crystals, and it's just everything. I'm drawn to everything. But I know the guidance and stuff, the messages that I kind of get about myself, and one of the ways I kind of get messages about myself is I'll listen to other people's card readers, and this is coming more into connection with myself and doing more meditations and stuff and going more inward and being able to receive messages directly myself, which I have always done, but maybe I wasn't open to hearing them as much, or didn't trust myself as much for whatever reason. Again, it doesn't matter, it's just part of the journey. So I'd listen to sort of other people in the beginning of this. I'd listen to sort of other people, card readers, and other people that were sort of channelers or intuitive messengers or whatever they wish, with the terminology you wish to use. Doesn't really matter. It's one and the same is how it feels to me. It depends on the energy that person, when they're doing what they're doing, the energy that they're giving out, that I feel that I receive, as to whether I can continue to interact with that or not. And there have been some people I found that for me, it's not for me, or they've not been for me at that particular time, or that message has not been for me at that particular time, that energy, whichever it is. The same way the energy that I'm giving out right now is not going to be for everyone, and maybe nobody will listen to this, but it's an energy that's going out into the world, and I know that's part of the purpose for me, is to, and part of the purpose for us all, is to bring that energy down, to allow the connection to it to be felt more, to develop it, to strengthen it, to deepen it. As we tend to be so disconnected, or have it's not maybe always cut completely. Maybe some people it is, but I know for myself it wasn't cut completely. It was there, but it was like a tiny, well, not even tiny. It was probably still the same. It just had so much crap all over it from stuff, most other people's stuff, and kind of clearing all that away, and now it's like beam, strong connection, deep connection, and it's all kind of this kind of starting to rush through, like pipe being unblocked. Pipe's unblocked, and the less blocked it is, the more that's kind of coming through. So, which is why I'm now feel more and more to kind of share more, because there's so much coming through, and if I don't share it and get it out in some way, express it, it's going to be just held within me, and it becomes blocked again. It's like I'm blocking it, I'm stopping it, and I can no longer do that. So it's just going to kind of come through, and this shows with the relationships. I know now why some of the relationships, and I mean relationships just with people, family, friends, and others around me in the last 6 months or so, that I've pulled back from a lot of people, and pull back from a particular important, so far on this journey, person, or a couple of important people in the last sort of 6 months, where I kind of had to, I couldn't be, and this is going to help. This was kind of what I was really, this message was going to be about, more was about the decision that I've made, because the old version of me before would have stayed within the interaction, within the experience, within the relationship, as they felt, because they wouldn't have felt justified enough or worthy enough, which is all just self-worth and self-value, because I didn't have self-love like I do now back then, and would have stayed, even though that would have felt that I wasn't deserving of the energy that had been expressed, and not all the times, maybe even just once or twice, but oh, excuse me, clearing. Just even once can be enough. If and everyone's on their own journey. There's no blame. There's no judgment to it. It's just that people, humans being human. If someone hasn't cleared some stuff away, and it's caused a wounding or a trauma within them, or some sort of pain, what I tend to do is I can generally, and I've done this all my entire life. People tell me their deepest, darkest secrets, just random people I would just meet. They'll just off, not offload, but they'll tell me stuff, and because the way I connect with people, the way that my energy connects with people, and again, this is something that's been confirmed to me many times, and through my own discernment, I know it to be true. The way I connect with them, because it just makes sense. It just feels so right. It just is. And so the way I connect with sort of people, I see their highest potential. I connect to their soul and the heart level, and I can see their highest potential. So sometimes when I see the highest potential, it's kind of like, well, okay, well, this human has this kind of like pain. Don't always need to know what the pain is, but I can kind of see that there's a pain, and that pain is kind of causing a blockage, or whatever interaction that was is causing a blockage, and that blockage is then, you know, stopping them from reaching this highest potential at that particular moment. And I didn't know it, but before, what I'd kind of do, and I still do it now, but I'm more aware of it now. But also there was a lesson, there's like a kind of realization that I've had through this recent interaction and experience I had of sort of letting energies go, older energies go, as I can no longer be around these. I can no longer have these energies so closely connected with my energy, because it's I don't know, using the word drains, because I don't think it's really something that is a conscious thing. It causes my energy to drop. I allow my energy drops, and causes me pain. And it's not my pain to have. It's not my pain. It's not my stuff. It's not my pain. It's a projection because of someone else who's got something within them that maybe they're not ready to face there and then. But what I'll do is or the people that have told me stuff. So going back to the previously, the people that have told me stuff over the years growing up and meeting people just generally out and about, even just on the street, people start talking and and it happens a lot. Hasn't happened as much recently, I must admit. It's kind of quieted down a little bit, or maybe it's just because I'm in the car. But even wherever people just talk to me. People interact, and I love that. I've got a friendly smile for everyone. I just who I am. Spreading smiles, as my dad said. Spreading joy, love, and smiles, as my dad said. He kind of waves at random people who are driving around the car. I love it. And when I asked him what he was doing, he said, spreading joy and smiles and love to random people. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And that's kind of what I always want to do. And so going back to the previous story, people sort of tell me stuff, and because of the way that I connect with them, so I'd kind of be able to see, not always know what the pain is, but I'd be able to kind of see through all the superficial stuff, if you like, almost the stuff, the top layer stuff that they would kind of give that other people might see, and just kind of get to the core almost of something and be like, well, have you kind of looked at it, this, that, and the other? Or have you thought about this, or this is, you know, if you're telling me this stuff, would you like to, you know, do you want what I feel? And I didn't always actually ask permission, but people, because I was able to do it in a very diplomatic way, being very mindful of people's you know, people's pain. Basically, I never wanted to. Intention was never to hurt anyone ever. I was able to kind of say stuff, and I know that those people, by what they said, and by sometimes people had come back and turned around and said, you know, you told me what you told me, and you know, I did what you said, or you know, it really kind of shone a light, or it shone something, an awareness, a greater awareness on something they were previously unaware of. But again, it's not just it's me. It's that connection to that's something else, the all, to their higher self, to their soul, whatever it is, that kind of, okay, like, and it's you know, the intuitions and little messages kind of come and sort of come through, and that's kind of what's happened these last like sort of 6 months or so. It's kind of just had to kind of pull everything back, and then sort of more recently, this, you know, just it's being around that older energy. But like I said, the older version of me would have carried on dealing with that energy and allowed that to continue. And I really had to take a stand and kind of go, no, because I'm not 15, 11 on the clock when I'm saying it. 11's one of the numbers that speaks to my love the numbers. Thank you. But I know how unnatural. I don't want to say right or wrong, because for me, it's just saying that it just doesn't sit well with me as much anymore. And there's no judgment with whatever everyone says. Everyone again is on their own journey. It just doesn't feel right to me, saying right, wrong, good, bad, evil, all, you know, those kind of words. For me, it's just there's just love. You know, that's kind of where we all come from, I believe, I feel, and where we all go back to eventually, some way, shape or form. So really, it just is all love. And if we have kind of chosen all these interactions that we're going to have when we come down here, challenges, lessons, whatever you want to call them, then our soul had a hand in all this before we even came here. So how can it be bad or negative? It's just our sort of our human perception of it. But also, it's good to look at things like that way, because then it helps you with your own discernment and stuff like that. So again, there's no judgment on anyone else's journey. It's just kind of what feels right for me. Oh, right. What feels natural to me at this stage of my journey. So sitting with those old energies feels unnatural to me now. It feels like it's a block. It's not something that's I can tolerate within my energy field. Am I It's going to start flashing to me in a minute because 20 odd minutes seems to be as long as I can do these videos. Don't know if actually anyone watches actually 20 odd minutes, but and if the, you know, these people that these interactions, particular interactions I'm talking about, happened with, you know, they'll know. And this is, I suppose, no judgment on them. There's no love lost. Just at the moment, they're on their journey, doing what they need to do. I'm on my journey, doing what I need to do. And, you know, maybe we will reconnect. But at the moment, my energy is where it is, and our just our energies were aligned with these particular people at some point. And now then less aligned. So it feels more unnatural, or not all of it, just parts. The parts that comes from that older energy is what feels unnatural, because that I no longer have. And I know people are mirror projections of ourselves and what's going on internally. But what was there for me to learn from that is I said something, one particular person, I said something, and kind of because I could feel something as a block, as this to do this sort of pain, this wound, this trauma that they had, which I knew about. And the lesson is to, instead of just going, have you thought about this? And kind of like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And just kind of, you know, pushing almost, though it wasn't intentionally. It came from the heart. It came from a place of love, because I know that, well, I know from my own experience that when I've looked at this stuff that sits inside, that it feels like a blockage or feels unnatural, when I've looked at that in whatever shape or form, that, you know, whatever technique or modality I wanted to use at the time that felt right at the time, because there's many that I've used and they've all been amazing. Just feels whatever feels natural. There we go, natural at the time. Whatever I've done it, I'm being able to release that and kind of get to the other side of that, which incorporates, you know, the releasing, the letting go, the acknowledgement, the releasing, the letting go, the coming back to love, the forgiveness, all those, and forgiveness, the other energy, forgiveness of myself, my own energy. When I kind of got to that, I know how freeing it is to go through that whole cycle. So I'm just knocked my cacao over then. Whole cycle, and get to back to almost like the beginning, if you like, almost, or the center point, which is then the balance and the stillness and the peace, and the love. So for me, 15:15 on the clock, for me it's and that's the time rather than the actual timer on the clock. For me, when I get back to that, there is just peace, and that then I can sit here and go, I can reflect and look back, and it all makes sense. I can see the links in it all. I know kind of why stuff has happened in my journey the way it has, and then that helps me in future, with the future stuff. So I have people doing stuff outside in the garden, so bear with if you can hear those noises and people talking. So yeah, so this will be if they do see this will be a sort of message from their higher self to that, you know, it was said with the intention of love from the heart, but from my own self and my own energies, protection, boundaries, if you like, I suppose, my energy boundaries in future, rather than me just going, by the way, have you thought of this, and just blurting it out when somebody may not be ready to hear my perspective and my truth about the situation, because again, it's also from my perspective, but I know that I'm starting more and more being able to feel when it's a projection of something from me and I'm looking at perspective, and more that it's something that's coming from somewhere else, because it feels different in my body. If I take a moment and sit with it, it feels different, and not from the head. It feels different. Even the way that it kind of comes to me, the voice almost in my head, that it's, you know, it's the translation of whatever the feeling or the emotion that comes with it, and from whatever part of my body that I feel it in, or my chakra system that I feel in, or wherever it is. It feels different, and the voice feels different. It sounds different. It has a different energy to it. So it's almost like it has a different tone to it when I kind of hear it and translate it in my head. So I know that it's different, and so when I sometimes say these things, it will be a different energy that I'm projecting out. So it's not just I'm projecting my past stuff onto someone and seeing a certain from a certain just a certain perspective, I can. It's almost I'm seeing it from the perspective of my higher inner self, my soul, whatever you want to call it, which is then connected to their inner higher self, their soul, and then it's then connected to the source creator of everything. So it's it's from that energy sometimes, but it is a note to self that not everyone is ready to receive that, even though it is possibly the it could be of benefit to them, and it's a seed. I know it's a seed planting. It is a seed planting. It's planting a seed that at some point they might come back to, and it's also an interaction that their soul has also agreed to at some point, an awakening to themselves, their core of who they truly are at some point. But right then and there, that person wasn't ready to receive it, and I didn't take that on board. So now I know, note to self, that before I go and do that, to actually say to someone, look, from what you said, there is something coming through, there's something I'm picking up on, feeling, connecting with, that is giving me a different perspective. Do you want to receive it? Are you ready to receive it? And then give them the opportunity to be able to connect into themselves and connect with their higher self, their soul, and see whether it's something they feel would be of most benefit to them at that moment in time. So that's what I needed to get from that, and that is what I've got. And me sharing that now here is maybe a message for someone else, or maybe just a double message for me. To get. So again, just take what connects from the heart, or somewhere else in your body, rather than just the head. And leave what doesn't. It's the best thing. And it's all love. It's all love. Let's blow that into my cacao. Love. Just all sit in the energy of love. Just love. It's so... If I could take each human, each being everywhere, and I mean everywhere, and really get them all to just hold hands in the physical sense, in the energy, whichever sense, but just all connect energies in some way, or become aware of the connection of the energies in some way, because we are actually all connected, but then be able to expand that feeling of that energy connection, that energy love to everyone, just in one go, pew, which I know is not the way things are meant to be. But if I could just do that and get everyone to that point of where I can get to now, where just to get that feeling of like, and I can feel it,